Howdy, folks, it's Blinky here. And now from the folks who brought you the Professional Triers, Hot or Not, X-Lights Rundown, and a Luminosity, the game show, we bring you Blinky Flashy Lowdown, a discussion about making your holiday light show go blinky flashy. Now here's your host, Brian McVay.
Hey everybody, this is Brian and we are back. I know we're a week early. We're into the third week for Blinky Flashy Lowdown. We switched, so I'll be coming at you every third Wednesday. And today we're going to kind of step outside the box a little bit. We have Aubrey Kall with us today, and she does LOR sequencing. So you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, Aubrey?
Sure. Hi. Thank you so much for having me on here. My name is Aubrey Kall, and I started with Lightorama back in 2009. So this will be my 12th season sequencing. I worked with LOR on my family's personal display for 3 years, and then I reached out to Lightorama when I was a freshman in college. Think about that for a second. A freshman in college, asking if they had any need for sequencers so that I could kind of expand beyond just our family's display. And lo and behold, they came back and said, sure, we love the samples of your work. And I've done a lot of sequences in their store. I got to work for them for 4 years doing some of the sequences. And after about a year working for them, they told me that if I started my own business, they would send me some referrals for commercial clients because that wasn't something that they took on. They didn't do that kind of sequencing. So I got to start my business when I was a sophomore in college, and I worked in tandem doing Lightorama programming, doing stuff for my own business. And then after 4 years with Lightorama, I had to stop in 2016 because I couldn't handle doing both because I had so many clients for my business. And Lightorama and I still have a wonderful relationship. They are fantastic. I can reach out to them for anything, and I'm actually one of their partners now. So that's where we are in the world.
Wow, very cool. Now, I came into this, I didn't do LOR Lightorama at all. I went straight into X-Lights. So, for the LOR users out there, and I know this makes a big difference with Lightorama, but you have channel for your displays. So you have different
Yes.
16, 32, 48, 64 channels. Can you explain
So
that a little bit?
the control boxes that they sell, they're standard AC channel boxes. They come in sets of 16. So those are like your standard LED incandescent lights. You plug them in. It's on, off, fade, shimmer, twinkle, and combination of those different kind of effects. They also sell pixel controllers too. I'm not product pusher for anyone. I know their equipment because that's what my family's used in their displays. So I'm way more on the software side, but I work with pixels and AC channels. I remember back working with RGB in 2010 where you had 7 different macro channels and then 3 channels that controlled red, blue, and green. So all the people now, they're like, look how easy programming pixels are. And it's like, I remember back when it was a process. So it's so cool to see how far it's come with all the software and equipment.
Oh, I got a buddy of mine here in, excuse me, a buddy here in town that does LOR, and I'm trying to get him to come over to the lighter side. I say the lighter side because LOR is the dark side, right? No, just kidding. But he's all worried about it because he writes his own, or he calls it writes his own sequences or his own show. So I'm gonna send him your way and see if he'd be interested in seeing what you got.
Sure.
But your Facebook page is Luminous Harmony Light Shows,
Yes.
and then the website is
LuminousHarmony.com.
luminousharmony.com. Okay, we'll probably go back to that 2 or 3 times so
Sounds
it
good.
stays fresh in people's minds. And you got some pretty cool work on here. And you were kind of sent my way by David. So the little birdie spoke up, and it's been kind of crazy here the last few months. I think he told me about you, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. So
Yeah,
I'm
we're trying
trying
to
to,
work on starting a mini here in Iowa where I live. And so with everything going on, doesn't look like it'll happen this spring, but we were working together to try to get that going.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of crazy with everything. I was going to be making my first trip down to Trans World this year, and next year, I guess.
Yep.
So when you go to you you basically sequence like it would be for like an LOR sequence. You look at somebody's layout. Are all these custom to that person's layout, or do you have a generic one that they can put on their layout? How does that work for you?
Mm-hmm. So most of the work I do is custom sequencing. So people come to me with, here's my layout. I already have it figured out. Here's the songs I want programmed. So that's the bulk of my work. But I do have a line of pre-programmed sequences. And the idea came to me a couple years ago when one of my clients was saying how hard it was to adapt sequences that he found from other places because his layout was different. So he wasn't sure, they didn't want to spend all that time doing it. So I was like, wait a minute, we need a different type of pre-programmed sequence in the industry. So what my sequences are, it's kind of a choose your own adventure format. So I have different ways that each control box can be laid out, because from a musician's perspective, it's really important to know how everything is configured instead of just saying, I have a prop, okay, transferred, I have arches, mega, like to me, that doesn't make sense because I'm looking at it from a musical aspect, saying what prop has the melody, what prop is the percussion, what prop is the background lyric. So that's how I see things. So what I've done with this create your own harmony line of sequences is for each control box, the customers can choose how they want it laid out. The 4 sets of 4, 2 sets of 8, 12 and a 4, a set of 16. So there's different options. And so the clients can tell me, okay, for the first box, first 16 channels, this is set up in a 4x4. And for the second box, I have a mega tree with 16 channels in a row. Awesome, that's one of your configuration. The third control box, I have 2 leaping arches that are 2 sets of 8. And so they can build what actually matches to their display instead of buying something generic and then having to spend all that time modifying it afterwards. So I'm trying to cut down on the work a little bit for people. And so far it's gone really well. And it's been interesting to see the different combinations that people have purchased, because displays are rarely the same. And so I'm trying to capture a little bit of that audience.
Yeah, their own little fingerprint, I guess, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We all have lines, and depends on where those lines came from, but we all put them in our own different areas. They're our own different ways. So I'm gonna probably get teased about that. A light shows a fingerprint. Hopefully not. I was gonna click on one of your videos and share it, but we'll probably get denied by YouTube because of music. So
Mm.
we won't do that. I'll have you guys go, if you go to the luminousharmony.com, go to services, scroll down the page. She has a long list of pop music, music songs, Christmas music, I'm sorry, movie songs, themes. The Greatest Show. That's an awesome. That was
That was
my
really
favorite
popular
X-Lights
stuff.
around the world. um,
Mm-hmm.
and then they
So I
can kind of
have one YouTube, sorry,
go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
would say I have one YouTube channel completely dedicated to the Create Your Own Harmony series, so people can see an example of what that would look like. So there's actually, if someone goes to purchase a Create Your Own Harmony sequence, there's 312 different ways that their display could be laid out, and they can still purchase one of the sequences and not have to do any work. And so the YouTube videos are kind of an example each, the 16, 32, 48, and 64, just showing one of the possible configurations. You can kind of see what it would look like on your house. And then I have a whole separate YouTube channel dedicated to custom work that I've done. So you can go ahead and check out both of those.
And that's Luminous Harmony YouTube channel.
Yep. Yep. Luminous Harmony is the main YouTube channel. And then there's the specific Create Your Own Harmony one is Create Your Own Harmony. And both of those links are on the website.
Oops, I think I spelled that wrong. Oh, there we go. I found you. So cool. We'll check that out. Again, the YouTube channel is just Luminous Harmony, same as it would be for the luminousharmony.com website. And you can go in. Oh, wow. Sorry. One popped up. It started playing. So looks like it's Little Drummer Boy. So that is very awesome. Now, you said you have an LOR display, or your family has an LOR display yourself. That's how you got started with it?
Yeah, the first Lightorama to music show we did was when I was 16.
Oh, wow.
So still going strong. Yep, my dad started putting up lights when I was 8, and it was just a really warm winter. It kind of just kept going, and I saw the Wizards in Winter commercial on TV when I was 15, and I asked my dad if we could do that to our house, and he said, yes, but you have to learn to do all of the programming. So that's what I did between 15-year-old Christmas and my junior year in high school. Is I taught myself how to sequence, and I kind of look back at those squinty eyes there, but we've gotten a lot better. We'll put it that way.
Well, a little trade-off with dad. He does the labor, you do the computer
Yeah.
PC work. So
Yeah, exactly.
now, how many channels do you have, or your dad has?
Our family display has 11 regular controllers, so the 16 channel boxes. We have 2 of the original Cosmic Color ribbons from Lightorama back from 2010. So we've had pixels for, this is year 11, 12, I don't know anymore. And then we have a pack of 8 RGB floodlights, and this year we're looking to add more pixels into the family display. So we'll see what comes out of that.
Okay, so you keep saying family display.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you don't live there anymore. You're
Well, I
graduated
wouldn't do a
college.
display on my own because I'd spend I want to keep the sequences on the family display where it originally all started, and so I don't know if I'd ever do one actually on my own. So
Well, see, what I was going to kind of lead into is if you started one on your own with all pixels, working with X lights and getting into X lights sequences. Do you see that coming in your future? I know you said you downloaded, you started playing with it a little bit. Is it something that you would kind of move up in, not move up, but move parallel into from LOR to X lights?
I'd like to look at X lights at some point. I think it's beneficial to understand both pieces of software. And then for me, it would really just be what my clients would prefer if I ever decided to offer X light sequencing. Really, it's just a matter of personal preference for people, whichever one they prefer and what works best for them. So I've used Lightorama for a long time, so that's what I know right now. And X Lights looks like gibberish to me, but I'm sure anybody that started with X Lights looks at LOR and sees the same thing. So, and I do displays all around the country, and so I don't really feel like I'd need to do a separate one for me personally. We'll just stick with the family display for my own sense here, because I get to do a lot of different things, and so I don't really feel the need to do an all pixel display in person because I do those anyway. They're just elsewhere.
Yeah, right. I gotcha. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a musical or rhythmic bone in my body, so that's why I'm the professional sequence purchaser that it says in the intro. So, yeah, I buy other people's and then map it to mine.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's kind of what got me started with. That's why I got asked to, if I want to be the blinky flashy lowdown, because I
There
did
you
know
go.
quite a few of the vendors out there, and then had made purchases from them. And and I'm fairly critical. I don't like the missed opportunity in a light show when I'm sitting there watching it, and like, oh, with the music and the rhythm and the beat and stuff, is like something should have happened there. Was it a
Mm-hmm.
prop I didn't have? Did I map it wrong? That's the stuff I look at, is the missed opportunities. That's probably my biggest pet peeve with sequences, and that's how I grade them. That's how I judge them. Is if is there a missed opportunity that they could have had something going? Because and this is kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say selfish or self-centered or anything, but I bought the lights, I put the lights up, I pushed the pixels in the props. I want them going off. You know, if they're not doing something, they're sitting out in the yard is a waste of money. It's
Mm-hmm.
the lighter, the brighter, the happier. I don't know. however
That's
you
funny.
want to say it. So, but looking at some of yours, they're awesome.
Thank
So,
you.
and then all this is done with this is your family house in Iowa then with
Yep.
these YouTube
Yep.
videos.
And then I have some from other clients on there. A lot of my clients upload their own videos, so
Mm.
I have a playlist of things that I've liked, and it goes to their respective YouTube channels. So haven't quite gotten all the commercial ones to video, but that's something I'm working towards as we keep going on with the years. So it's usually the residential ones I get to send me videos.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So going back to your Facebook page, they can reach you just same as I did yesterday about the contest, but they can reach you from the Luminous Harmony Create Your Own Harmony Facebook page, or I'm sorry, Luminous Harmony Light Shows Facebook page, right?
Yep.
And then
hmm
you also have it on the About Us or Contact Us on the
Yep, it's
luminous.harmony.com.
at the bottom of every page on the website, so you can get right to a contact form, you can email me directly, you can go on Facebook, you can fill out order forms. I have a million funnels and I'm constantly on social media checking, so I'll definitely see the message.
Awesome. Now, are you in I know there's LOR Facebook groups. I'm not in any of them, obvious reasons. Are you in those groups and talking to those guys as well?
I'm probably in a solid 25 Facebook groups, so I get notifications constantly and I'm always scrolling through those. So I like to comment and help out when I can because I mean, everybody had year one and was where I once was with not knowing what's going on. So when I can answer a question, I like to hop on there just because I don't want people to be frustrated. So,
Okay. Oh, so that kind of popped a question into my mind then. So let's say somebody wants to write their own sequence or whatever,
mhm.
using I think Superstar 5. Is that the latest?
Superstar is an add-on for Lightorama. I don't personally use Superstar. I use the native sequencer function. In S5, the programming for AC
It's
lights and pixel lights got put together, and so I use that main piece of software. I don't use the add-on.
okay. So if somebody I didn't mute myself. Okay. So if somebody is working with that, do you offer advice to them or how to do that? Do you have like an hourly charge for a consultation about writing their own music or how to do it with the S5 software?
I generally haven't. I don't teach people how to sequence. Most people don't ask me that. It's usually I need you to do this sequence because I don't have time, or where's this button in the software, and I can just answer it. I do actually teach classes at the Christmas Expo. So I did my first seminar in 2015. I essentially teach music theory as it relates to sequencing. So that's where people can learn about my style of sequencing is at the expo, but I haven't done any online classes or anything.
Okay, another question.
Okay.
Follow up on that. What do you call it? Your musical theory or music? What do you call it?
Yeah, essentially.
Can you
I call it music's DNA at the expo.
okay? Can you give me a quick
Yeah.
rundown of what your perception is for creating
Yeah.
a
So
sequence?
when I
Put
sit
you on the
down to,
spot.
oh no, it's fine. I love talking about it. So when I sit down to sequence a show, I basically see the layout as a giant orchestra of, okay, we have in a song, we have the melody, percussion, harmonies, and we have to figure out how are we going to bring all of those out. And so when I go through a sequence, well, first we have to separate what we're hearing and we have to listen into the different parts of the music. And then we have to decide, okay, what is the actual rhythm? And so during my class, I talk about how do we listen to different note values? So how do we find quarter notes and eighth notes and 16 notes? And music is really just math. And so it's once you figure that out, you can take a different lens to sequencing and you can get those rhythms really solid instead of just getting close. And so I walk people through how to do that. And one of the things I make everybody do in class is I teach them how to conduct like band and orchestras. So we make squares, talk about how measures have 4 beats in them. And so people will come up to me years later at the expo, they'll be like, hey, you're this class. I'm like, yes, I'm glad you remember that and we're putting this together. So Yeah, and so I talk about, okay, once we've got all the different rhythms figured out, how do we assign that to the yard? So if a piece of the music is louder, if the melody is louder, we should assign more of the yard to that. How do you make distinctions of melodies over here, percussions over here, harmonies over here, so that it doesn't get muddled and lost, and doing things on volume and really putting it together as a whole instead of picking and copying and pasting and just kind of throwing it together. And so that's what I want people to take away from that is, if you can sequence your own sequence, make sure you look at it from that frame of reference. Musically, what is it doing? Like, the lights are to bring the music out. Like, that's the whole purpose in my mind. And then if you're taking pieces from other sequences, make sure you watch the whole sequence first and understand what's going on in that original sequence. Where's the melody? Where's the harmony? Because if you're cutting from 4 different sequences, you might accidentally take all of the percussion tracks and completely cut out the melody altogether, or you might just have random blinking and flashing. And so I don't want it to be chaos.
Right.
And then we talk a little bit about, then you've really got to think about the emotion that you're trying to bring out with the song. So being very intentional with color that you're picking with RGB. I am a rare rainbow user when it comes to pixel effects, because I'm always trying to make my audience feel something specific with the colors that I pick. So like Let It Go, for example, you use aquas and whites. Like, red doesn't belong in that song. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so all of those different pieces together, the audience might not understand why they're attached to a sequence, but I want people to understand the thought that goes into it when you have that music background.
Wow, very cool. So yeah, it's interesting listening to the sequencers describe how they come up with the type of show that they do, and it's really pretty cool. And I'm just sitting there, sure, make my house look pretty. So
Well, it's always interesting to hear how different sequencers approach it, because everybody does it differently. And I like listening to how other people interpret their sequences, because I'm always looking to learn new things and think about it from a new perspective. So that's what I love about this community and everybody's willingness to talk about what they do.
oh yeah. So shoot, I'm almost out of questions. Do you have anything that you want to add?
No, I mean, I think we covered it with those main questions, and just thank you for having me on here and counting me as one of the sequencers. I love talking about music and incorporating it, and I encourage people to give that lens a try.
Cool. Well, yeah, no problem. I did just click on. I'm just going through the website trying to
Mhm.
think of something. So more to ask. But you do like custom layout designs too. You'll help somebody design their house as far as how many channels they want to use and
So
stuff.
actually, so I work with another guy. His name's Luke Camp. I met him at the Christmas Expo a couple years ago, and he's an architect by trade who also does Christmas lights. And so we work together on projects. He does all of the layout design, and oh my gosh, they're just beautiful. What he gives me, the layout plans when they're done, I'm like, thank you. I understand exactly how things are supposed to be. So far, we've only worked together on commercial projects. We haven't done residential, because usually residential people, they know where they want to put everything. So we're mostly
Right.
working together on a commercial scale. But yeah, he'd be willing to do that if anybody from a residential standpoint wants to talk.
Awesome. Well, that's very cool. So, okay. So again, luminousharmony.com is the website. And then Luminous Harmony Light Show on Facebook. Check her out. Aubrey does awesome work. Check out the YouTube Luminous Harmony on there. Just for LOR users, you do an amazing job. So
Thank you.
I'm watching Pirates of the Caribbean right now, so I'm a little bit distracted.
That's one of my favorites.
So, but no, just absolutely amazing work, and I'm glad David threw your name out there and asked if I had time to invite you on. So it's definitely been a very nice time, very pleasureful talking to you. So
Yeah, great to talk with you as well. Have the same
any
day.
closing thoughts that you want to say?
Just thank you so much for having me on, and I hope we all have a great Christmas, considering everything that's going on, and everybody uses this time to start preparing, and we have awesome, massive displays to bring up some cheer this Christmas.
We're going to need it by then. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Aubrey. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thanks everybody for definitely. Thanks everybody for listening. Don't forget to give us a like on Facebook, on Professional Triers page, YouTube. You can hit that subscribe button. There we go, and hit the bell for notifications so you do get notified when we do have shows getting put out. So we will see you next month. Thanks. Bye.
Once again, the Professional Triers Holiday Lighting Show has raised the bar, teaming up with another awesome sponsor, Zazzle, to provide you, our VIP listeners, with some cool, awesome, one-of-a-kind Professional Triers gear, including the Hot or Not shot glass, the Blinky Flashy Lowdown notebook, the Professional Triers Blinky Gear beer stein, the ever-so-popular David Peace Not a Vendor t-shirt, the must-have Robert Petty Make Rob Great Again t-shirt, the one-of-a-kind Jordan Nash
Do you like my decorations?
t-shirt, and of course the must-have Professional Triers Blinky t-shirt, and much, much more. You can even create your own one-of-a-kind Professional Triers gear. So go to trierswag.com, that's TRIERSSWAG.com, and get your Professional Triers gear today.